Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Sisters Let's Talk podcast lounge.
You have a sister friend who you can talk to about your imperfections, vulnerabilities, uncensored truths, journeys, and victories. Welcome to the lounge.
All right, viewers. So, we had a new experience recently where we ended up being guests on a show. So, instead of the host us interviewing, we were being interviewed. So, today we're going to kind of run you through how we felt and our experience being on this show as guests. It obviously feels a little different. It sure does feel a little different. And the show that we were on was a show that we were speaking in a local lingua, which is Creole. And as you know, we're both from Sierra Leone, and the show is called Yad Road. So it's Yadrod. And it's literally a show that you can find on YouTube that goes live once a week on Saturdays. And they bring in different people from the same, from Sierra Leone, and to showcase what they do, their achievements, not just achievements, but the good things they're doing and providing resources for the community. So that's basically the show that we were on. So for me, over to you. First question. Generally, how did you feel when you when you leave the studio, because it's through StreamYard, about just being on this show as a guest?
Well, it did feel like I was just on the show being interviewed for sure. Obviously a sign of relief that it was done, but also savoring the experience because it did make me think about things that you know, but you don't get to talk about it, especially in a question and answer kind of atmosphere. But also it helped make me realize that we actually doing something that mattered. Um, if
Mm.
not even to others but ourselves, but the feedback we got from people it felt good.
Hmm. Actually, that's the ending part of your statement is how I feel overall, is that yes, we're doing something and that's purposeful. And I think because of the way they tailored their questions and
Mm.
as we were answering, is like, yeah, wow, this is good. And I think it gave me more motivation to say, yes, let's more or less put our back into it and make it the best that we can make. Obviously, as a guest, is completely different because, like, oh my God, what are they going to ask kind of thing.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it felt, I think we more or less accomplished what we wanted to accomplish. And at the same time, uh, have the experience of others questioning us.
Yeah. Yep. It was a good feeling overall.
Okay.
Yep.
So, uh, the next question would be really, which makes sense. What did it feel like being in the hot seat? The fact that you were being questioned.
Um, I was not tense. I think they created the atmosphere of curiosity, which is normally how I interview other people with. I just want to know, like, I want to dig a little bit more and just know more. And it's not like I want to feel I, I didn't feel intimidated or like they just asking me random questions. The questions were very well structured and made me feel okay sharing what we shared in a heartfelt manner, meaning it was not just how, it was the why,
Why?
the feeling, the heart behind what we do. And our audience. Obviously they're plum woman, and it just helped me see that woman more clearly for
Okay.
some reason. So the I think the questions and the atmosphere, the relaxed atmosphere, almost felt like I was sitting in the lounge and being that curious person again.
Mm-hmm. I think the questions, you can see that, I mean, the questions were intentional, but,
Hmm.
and that made it, you could see that they actually wanted to know,
Hmm.
you know, and as you said, curious about, here is a bunch of women or couple, two women doing something, and something that they can relate to, as well as the fact that we're all from the same place. I think
Yeah.
that also made it even more loungy, if that's a
Yeah.
word.
Yeah. Like
But
basically
at the
just
same,
hanging out kind of
just
thing.
hanging out, yeah.
Yeah.
But even at that, it was, the questions were still intentional. It wasn't that, oh, here's another group, or here's another guest on the
Hmm.
show. It made
Yeah.
it unique. Like, we were there as guests, but we were like, oh, the only guests that they've had kind of feeling,
Yeah. Yep.
right?
Hmm.
So I like that, and
Yeah.
it didn't feel like you were being just fireball questions. Here you
No.
go, here you go, here
Mm-mm.
you go.
No.
So that was good.
It was good. It was a good interview.
And I guess you could also give it to who the interviewers are. It also, I think, is part of their personality,
Hmm.
which it's all calm. I One of the gentlemen, well, there's two gentlemen on the show as well, but I don't want to say they ran away.
But I think it ended up being really okay. Just women hanging out and talking.
Yep, yeah.
Obviously, Moronike comes out a little. I think it's more like a Lucia. Haha, no, that's right.
It's true. It's very
It was
true.
like
And
direct,
Chadwick is the
and
more,
Chadwick is more like
yeah.
the I want to know more, like calm, just like me. Calm, but
The way you speak is there's a flow.
yeah, but like wanted to know more and have that curiosity. Obviously Morenike had it too, but
Yeah.
I feel like both of them were a good match
Hmm.
on how they interviewed. I like the interview styles actually. It was really good.
It's good. And I think it's good for us as well,
Hmm.
being there, and when we moving forward, we do think about it, and we sometimes have guests who say, oh, I was nervous, or but then afterwards, it felt like I was just in the lounge kind of thing.
Hmm. Yeah.
And some people just being on video, it's
Hmm.
not something that they're used to or comfortable with. So sometimes
Yeah.
that affects how you relax.
Hmm.
But I think it comes back to those who are calm and
Hmm.
those who give the fireball questions, the
Yep.
interviewers, and how they deliver it.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So another thing was, well, what was the most unexpected question that you got, that you feel was the most unexpected question?
Um, I don't think about it. What was the most unexpected question? Um, Maybe talking to a single woman about what we do. I don't think I don't think we had um what I want to say. I
It's
don't
not like
think
we've isolated the single woman,
isolated the
but
single woman, even though we've had episodes that are catered
right,
towards
mhm,
them, but I don't think we've isolated them and actually talked to them directly, which
right, right.
opened the eyes that okay, this is something we probably need to do maybe more episodes on that targets the singular plum woman or the married plum woman because
Mhm,
the answers were different for each group. So when you're talking directly to that person, so that that was unexpected, but I think we did a pretty good job in talking to that woman and giving them something that they can hold on to as an plum woman.
Right. Okay.
How about
For
you?
me, I don't know, it was the ritual.
Mm,
So the question essentially was, how do we, what is, she literally used the word ritual. What
yeah,
was our ritual or slash preparation when we're coming to start on the show, when we're having an episode? I think the reason, well, I mean, I was expecting all the other questions, but that particular one is like, oh, yes, we plan, we think about it, but it's like, oh, as I was delivering my response, I'm going through in my mind how we started, what was
mm-hmm,
our quote unquote ritual, and
mm-hmm.
how we what we do now as our quote unquote ritual or preparation,
Or the things we do
the things
repeatedly.
we do ahead, yeah,
Yeah.
and even during the recording.
Mm.
I also missed the days that we were just doing audio recording. But obviously that has changed when we're doing video recording. But
Yeah.
I'm glad that the one thing that hasn't changed, which is we always dedicate and commit the time, the show, the guests to God.
Yeah.
I think that's something that's a lesson just in life, right? That we can, I mean, you always want to prepare. Sometimes you could over prepare, but is that a good thing or is that not a good thing? I think if you over prepare, it's still better than being under prepared. But at the end of the day, no matter how prepared you are, committing it to God, I think then allowing Holy Spirit to do his thing. Otherwise, you get in the
Yep.
way, right?
Yep.
And you always
Mhm.
have a better outcome.
Yeah. You do.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I'll say that was us even preparing to be a guest on that show. Lucia had a field day with me 2 days prior
Oh,
and the day prior.
ha.
I'll just let everybody know she had a field day because like every 45 minutes or an hour, I'll send her like another document. Like, what if they ask us this question? What is the universal thing that we say, or what do you see differently, or this is the angle that I think, or this is the woman we're talking to, like how would we talk to this woman? Like it was it was a we did not know all the questions, so I don't think, but it was like what are the obvious questions that they will ask,
And they would
in
ask.
as much as we've been doing it, we're in it, we know it, but it's like you never know like the version of your brain, like my brain creates versions of things that sometimes I have to like check.
So
Is it what
essentially,
really
she's a
happened?
Martha, I'm a Mary. But at the end of the day, you need a Martha and you
Yeah, that
need a
was she
Mary.
called me. Yeah, she did call me a
Martha and
Martha.
Mary, these are the two women in the Bible
Yeah.
who Jesus visited, and their
Hmm.
brother was Lazarus.
Yeah.
So Martha was she was wanting to make sure everything was prepared, everything was ready, things are
Hmm.
being done right. And
Yeah.
Mary's like, yeah, I know we're gonna be eating. But I think also at the same time, I think Mary was the younger one.
Mm.
So she's like, Martha got it. Or she always knows this is what Martha does. So just let Martha be Martha and
Mm.
Mary be Mary.
Yeah,
But
that's
at
what
the
she
end
called.
of the day, yeah,
Hmm.
it's still good though. It's still a match made in heaven, I think. It's still a good balance. Yeah.
But okay, so I'll ask the follow-up question since now we've been very transparent. Do you feel like being able to answer those questions, or like my reiteration, or my what if questions that I kept asking us prior to preparing, part of our preparation, right? Um, did that help you be more comfortable in answering the questions or not?
So, um, there's a way people think there's or see things, either the global they're like the global learners or the global approach, where it's the big picture, and then you have the ones who the detail. So those questions that you had, I'd already asked in my head,
Mm.
but not necessarily put them down. The only one that I didn't was the ritual, which is why, or what we, the preparation one. They were sort of in my head, like, okay, we're going as guests from a podcast. It's not like we're going and promoting, I don't know, an NGO or something. Um, and so, what exactly are they going to ask me or ask us? So they were sort of in, they were already in my head, but I also like, and this is why I always say that it's a match made in heaven. I also like the fact that if we were going with just mine, just my framework in my head, you probably will be off because you have no idea what's in my head. But now that you've made it plain and written the vision down, we both are on the same page,
Mm-hmm.
right? We
Yeah.
both have the same story.
Yeah.
In as much as we we're doing it together, we know what we're doing it for, we know what we're doing it about.
Mm-hmm.
So our answers are not going to be so off. We will still come
Mm-hmm.
with our own experiences, but the fact that it's written down,
Yeah.
it's clearer.
And I'm
So
like that you brought that point up because I think this ties into like I'm really big on writing things down. I am. I have, my husband says I have 50 journals in this house. There is a journal with me everywhere. There's a notebook anywhere I go because I have to write it down for it to make sense to me. It has to be written down, even if it's something I've written in another book, but it has to be written down for it to really stick. So, and I know that's my own style, but I also want to bring it to like life in general. Since we're talking to that Plum Mama, we talk to you every time. It doesn't matter if we're doing a review of ourselves,
mhm.
but talking to you, like write that vision down, write that goal down, write that thing down, and especially for those that are married or you are in a relationship with somebody, they're not going to know what's in your head. You've already done
Exactly.
it. You already know what it is, but they don't know. They don't know what's in your head. So if they keep asking the same question over and over, it's because that person might need all the details for it to make sense to them. They're not nagging. They just it just needs to make sense, really. I'm talking on behalf of the other people. It just needs to make
I
sense.
will listen on behalf of the other people.
But no, write that the Bible says it. Write the vision
Yeah.
down so
Yeah,
that
it
other
was
people
that. It
can
was
run
that.
with
Write the
it.
vision down and make it
Habakkuk, yep.
plain. Yeah, I
Habakkuk,
mean
yep.
Habakkuk.
2:2, yep.
Yeah.
Write the vision down, make it plain so both of you are on the same page. It really does help. Um, and that's what all the companies and big names that we know, you see them. They tell you every time, this is where we're going, this is where we're going. And we all need to be there on that same page. Back to the review.
Definitely. There are different degrees, though. There are
Yeah,
different degrees of
there.
detail.
Yeah, it is.
You could have the minute detail, or you have, but again, like I said, you have the global thinkist or
Hmm.
generalist, and then you have the detailed generalist. But the global generalists
They have a
also
big,
have
yeah, they
detail.
have a big part. They have a big part in that big picture. And sometimes I'm
Yeah, and
there.
vice
I'm
versa,
at
right?
that, yeah. Sometimes I'm in that big picture. Don't give me all the little check boxes. I just want the big picture and that's it. Don't give me the details because they won't stick. So I don't,
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah.
This is why we need each other.
What will you do different now that you've been a guest? Well, actually, I think we've all been guests individually on different shows, I would say, or different platforms.
But this is
This is us
representing
doing it,
us and
yeah,
not representing
ourselves,
individual.
yeah.
Yeah.
What are some things we might or might not apply to our own podcast or our own show? Is there anything that really stood out that will say, maybe this is something we should think about for Sisters Let's Talk that we're not doing right now or we don't do often.
I think the con or the other side is no, let's start with the good side first. I think we should commend ourselves that we actually are doing something good and in our delivery, in our prep and planning, and in the vision that we have. As always, there's always room for improvement. And I think as we were sitting there and I'm thinking, we made the goal, we have the goal, or we challenge ourselves to deliver on YouTube. We challenge ourselves to do video. So as we were doing speaking, and I'm like, okay, we're doing it, but now let's put our back into it, and because it's bigger than we know, but the more you speak about it, right, it's bigger than even what we envision. And trust me, we've envisioned big, but it's bigger
Yeah.
than what we envision. Let's go back to the drawing board, and make it as good as we can.
Yeah. One thing I will say I got from that conversation um was the need to constantly tell our audience who we talking to and why we do what we do. I don't think we
Mm-hmm.
say that often. Even on
Right.
their show, they had lit intervals that they basically just told listeners who they are and what they're doing and who they are talking to. So I think that's one thing I'll say we can adopt into our episodes as well. I mean, reminding listeners of who we are, why we do what we do,
Mm-hmm.
and who they are to us. And our basically just our why of why we show up every time in front of their faces.
And it's about them and not just
Yeah.
necessarily two women doing what they feel like they want to do.
No. Yeah.
Mm.
So I think that's one thing. And because listeners, you're really important to us. We really want to see you thrive. We want to see you keep doing what a plum woman does.
Mhm.
Being daring, like go for it. Your experiences, let them count. Your story, let it count. Bringing others along with you. When you're up there, bring the other person there with you, or like pull them along when you see them falling. Um, and just look forward to having your own vision bigger than it is right now. Or if it's super big and it feels like it is unattainable, ask somebody that has been there so that they
Mhm.
can help you. That is basically why we do what we do. And confidence is not built in a day, it's because you keep doing one thing again and again until you see it done.
You
That's
perfect.
how you, yeah.
Mm.
And it gets a good effect. That's how you build confidence. You're not doing it one time and say it didn't work. That does not build confidence at all. So keep doing it. Yep.
Until you achieve your purpose,
Yep.
your
So,
God-given purpose.
yes. So maybe a question that we're going to leave with you today. What is something that you have done for the first time, right? How was that experience? How did it go? What was your take back on it? Like just what we did, like just the questions we asked ourselves. Could you ask yourself those questions and just see what you did, how it felt, what you can do better? And
Make sure you put it in the comment section.
yeah,
And as you answer those questions, hit the subscribe button
definitely one time.
one time.
And the notification bell so you know when we post our next video.
Exactly.
But thank you for being on this Aplum journey with us. And you need to sign up to our newsletter because we'll be coming up with some fun things that we did talk about on the interview.
Mhm.
And if you are from Sierra Leone and you can totally understand Creole or you're looking to learn Creole, because I think you'll get most of it, we'll put the link down to the actual show. And we'll be doing other things, trying to I don't want to promise anything, but we want you to be part of that interview. So we're gonna try to do something so you get most of
Translation.
what, yeah. Lucia will be doing most of them. Um, so, but we want you to be able to understand it, and because it was really good, it was really,
Mhm.
really good. So we hope that we can maybe break it down in little pieces so you can be a part of that experience as well. So look forward to that. So notification bell, sign up for the newsletter so you know when they're coming.
Perfect. We're on a journey together.
Yep. Well,
All
have a
right.
good and awesome week. God bless you, and be the best you that you can ever be.
Amen. Until next time, it's Fumi. Oh, okay.
I don't remember. There is one way that you should turn it so it's the
Maybe don't
right
turn
thing.
it at
I don't
all.
know. Don't turn it at all. Don't do anything.
All right.
Okay. Have a good one.